everybody that we're all going to burn because of the global warming. You know, I was appalled with the science museum of Virginia came up with. It was appalled. They're going to be busting all these little kids, and they're going to look through these kiosks and give them all this information. But you're right. We need to start with the young people.
It's very, very unfair to the next generation to have them grow up with this mentality.
It's unfair, and it's going to be costly, isn't it? Not only is it unfair to intellectually lie to somebody, to deprive them of knowledge, and so that they're forced to make an erroneous conclusion, but these conclusions have big consequences. I mean, we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars that are going to be moved around. They're going to be moved around from wealthy countries to poor countries. They're going to be moved around to, a lot of people are going to make a lot of money on this, right? A lot of banks, a lot of people are going to be trading carbon credits. Carbon credits don't do anything for the economy. You know, it's just another bubble waiting to happen. And for what? It's pointless.
How likely is it that, since we're about to, we're starting on a 30-year cooling period, just came off a 30-year warming, now we're starting a 30-year cooling, how likely is it that they're going to take credit for causing that by all their regulation and legislation and actions?
No, I'm sure they'll try. But you know what? The carbon dioxide levels are still going to go up. You know, we can try to put caps on carbon dioxide emissions, and basically what's going to happen is people will still make carbon dioxide. Americans are not going to go without their energy. The price of energy is just going to go up. It's going to be poorer and poorer. What will happen is that the carbon dioxide levels will still keep going up at the pace they're going up right now. Remember, only 14% of the increase in carbon dioxide from the beginning of the industrial age until now is anthropogenic. The rest of that is natural carbon dioxide that we have no control over. Who knows where it comes from? It comes from bacteria munching on plants, basically. So we have no control over that. It's still going to keep going up. They can pass all the legislation that they want. They can't control that. Argue that, well, you know, it's not carbon dioxide, guys.
So how do you think they'll justify that?
I mean, you know, these people will look at the sky and it's blue and they'll tell you that it's green and they'll expect you to believe it. Some people will. You know, I mean, it's like the release of these emails. They said, no, it's no big deal. It's just a couple of guys, you know, horsing around, or, you know, the code that I showed. He said, well, you know what his excuse was? Well, the programmer was just frustrated because the data didn't work, so he put those fudge factors in there. He didn't really mean fudge factors. He was just frustrated. Yeah, right. So yeah, they'll try to come up with an excuse. They always do. But it just becomes more and more absurd. Here's maybe one more slide here, I think. Merry Christmas, happy. Those worried about imminent environmental catastrophe need not worry about saving this planet. They are already on another. We've entered a new age of unreason. And this is this unreason that we have to fight. I mean, if you look at the arguments of these people, it's just absolutely absurd. I mean, somebody said today, if this were called Cancergate, how would people feel? If they found out that the Cancer Center here at the Medical College of Virginia, the Massey Cancer Center, was fudging biomedical data on cancer people, on the development of new cancer drugs, they found that out. Do you think that there would be an uproar, or would they say, no, it's not a big deal? There would be, people would go nuts. This would not be allowed to happen in any other field of science. And they shouldn't allow it here in climatology either.
You had an earlier slide that showed the natural cause CO2 going up 68% over the last time period one. Do you have any idea what's causing that? Is it volcanic activity or?
Oh, the CO2. Well, we have most of this. Obviously, mankind is putting CO2 in the atmosphere. There's no doubt about that. I mean, since the industrial age, we are dumping CO2 in the atmosphere. But when you look at the percentage of, you know, there's a lot more CO2 that's coming from natural sources. Why is that happening? I don't know. It's probably happening because the Earth is warming. The Earth is warming not because of CO2. The Earth is warming because of solar forcings or because of orbital forcings that are causing the oceans to warm, and then they're degassing. Okay, it's this Henry's law or Boyle's law, one of those gas laws. Basically, it says that, you know, when the water warms, the gas comes out. And I think that's what is causing most of the CO2 to be going up, because the oceans are warming. It's not the other way around. The carbon dioxide isn't causing the oceans to warm. The ocean's warming and causing the carbon dioxide to go up. So you're not going to mitigate that. There are solar forcings and planetary forcings are probably the biggest cause of warming cycles. Yes, sir.
We breathe out carbon dioxide.
Exactly, yeah.
And there's a whole lot more people on the planet today than there were 1,000 years ago, right?
Some people are telling other people that, the best way that we can mitigate global warming is to have fewer children. They're actually doing that. The absurdity is such that they're saying limit population growth for the planet. Take a bullet for the planet. And that's absurd. That's what's absurd. Bacteria, put out a lot. Bacteria decaying plant material put out tons and tons of carbon dioxide compared to what we put out. It's a small fraction. I've actually got a slide in here somewhere that shows the carbon balance, and it shows that most of the carbon dioxide is stored in the oceans, and most of it is put out by the oceans and put out by plants. And only 7% of the carbon that is put out, carbon dioxide that's put out, is coming from like power plants, coal burning plants, and so on. By the way, when the EPA comes along and they get rid of those two base-fired coal plants that are up in northern Virginia that give us power, okay, they got to replace them with wind farms, right? Remember the green energy? You know how many wind farms? It's going to take a swath of land, 1,100 and some square miles long, which would occupy three of the major counties up in northern Virginia and the city of Alexandria, are all going to have to be cleared and leveled so that we can put up wind farms, okay? And then that's going to generate enough power to substitute for those 200 megawatt power plants that are going to have to be closed down because of Waxman and Markey or because of the EPA. But guess what? What happens when the wind doesn't blow? Well, you have to have a coal-fired plant around to back it up. So you still haven't gotten away with putting emissions into the air. You just basically destroyed a lot of land, built a lot of ugly wind machines that don't run when it's not windy outside. They have to be backed up anyway. The whole thing is absurd.
Are all those documents and emails that were purloined from East Anglia actually accessible by normal people?
Yes. They are now.
Where?
If you go to climatedepot.com, they actually have a search engine there. They've actually made those emails searchable. Mark Moreno's website, climatedepot.com, and there's a link on there that will take you to all of those emails, and indeed it actually has a search function. So if you want to search for just Michael Mann, put in Michael Mann, and pops his email. So yeah, you can go through them all, and it's pretty fun going through those. And they probably were, there's controversy about how they were purloined, as you put it. I mean, were they released by an insider or a whistleblower? I mean, they all look kind of neat when they all came out. They look like they were ready for a FOIA release, and maybe they were sitting in a server somewhere, and maybe somebody from inside or whatever took them out. I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Pat Michael's still the state climatologist. Is he involved in your group at all? I believe he's been somewhat of a skeptic on this for years.
Yeah, Pat Michaels is a great guy. He doesn't belong to our S&E group, but he's part of Fred Singer's group. So him and Fred Singer are good friends. They were colleagues at the University of Virginia, right? So, but as far as I know, he's not a member. He would be a member of our Northern Virginia group if he is, and I don't think he is. But that doesn't stop him from speaking out. He's a very good debater, and I think he was the one that they wanted to beat up, wasn't it? I mean, one of the emails said that the next time they saw Pat Michaels at a meeting, that they're going to beat him up. And these are quote academic people.
Have you seen the documentary Not Equal this one?
I haven't seen that yet. I've been trying to get a hold of it for a group.
I've actually got a copy of your own tomorrow.
Is it good?
It's excellent, yeah. And it totally matches with what you're talking about. They talk about hockey stick, and it might have been McIntyre that you referenced in the slides.
Yeah, McIntyre he's a statistician from Canada, and he's the one who basically took the numbers apart and debunked it. He debunked it mathematically, right?
Yeah, I think he's actually featured.
Oh, good. Yeah, they probably interviewed him. And I think they interviewed Fred Singer, probably on there too.
Yeah,
Fred's
actually,
over in
and one of the
Copenhagen right now.
founders of Greenpeace.
Yeah.